everyone, this is Pico Entertainment and we're back again, and here now we have another video for you, and this will be a full review of Loki Season 2 premiere episode. Now there'll likely be spoilers throughout for this episode, so just beware when going to this overall video, and you can check out my reviews of Loki Season 1 and also all other Marvel Disney Plus shows within the channel, and I'll leave some links within the description. So Season 2 of Loki debuted this Friday, the 6th of October 2023 on Disney Plus, and will overall consist of 6 episodes. And just quickly to recap on the climax of the first season, where we saw Loki and Sylvie coming into contact with He Who Remains, or a variant of Kang, who we all know is the big bad villain of Marvel's Phase 5, still played currently at the moment by Jonathan Majors. Sylvie ends up killing He Who Remains, sparking off the whole creation of the multiverse, where we see multiple timelines branding out. Loki finds himself back at the Time Variant Authority and seeing a statue of Kang, indicating that he's in a different timeline. So going into this Season 2, I wasn't hyped at all, and I'm probably in a small minority in thinking that Loki was not amongst the strongest of the Disney Plus Marvel series. In fact, prior to She-Hulk, I actually thought Loki was indeed the worst series. I just think as a story it was mostly about nothing. And when we look at what actually happened over the entirety of the season, it actually could have been summed up in about a 90-minute episode. So my hopes weren't high going into this overall episode, and I have to be honest, there was nothing that happened during this installment that overall changed my mind about the series. But I will concentrate on the positives first, and as ever, Tom Hiddleston is the star attraction, and really he's the only reason that I stay engaged in any episode. His charismatic performance has always been a bright spark, not only for the show, but also the MCU in general. And in this episode, he's as energetic and watchable as ever. He does have good chemistry with Owen Wilson's Agent Mobius, and it's a much better dynamic than the one we see between Loki and Sylvie. And I can't deny, it was an absolute pleasure seeing Ke Huy Quan in the show. He played a character known as Uberus, I believe, coming in fresh off his Oscar-winning run for his role within Everything Everywhere All at Once. I'll always have a loyalty to him, of course, because of his performance as Short Round and also because of his role as the Goonies. And I think in this episode he had a very likeable presence, and to some degree he was kind of a saving grace, as he was the only character it seemed that was actually interested in trying to explain to us what exactly was going on throughout the entire episode. And this episode itself did have some good visual moments. In particular, we saw Mobius having to go out in his radiation suit to try and extract Loki back from the actual current point in time, wherever it was. I did like the effects and the musical score that was playing throughout the sequence. It was all nicely put together. And I just wish that the plot and writing throughout this episode was as well constructed. And this is where we come to the big issue that I had with this entire episode, was that as a plot or overall narrative, it really was all over the place. Just from a viewing experience, it was incoherent, confusing, all too hectic, and it was just an overall mess. Now I'm sure there'll be plenty of those who were all tuned in to Season 1 that would have had no problem following the story, acknowledging all of the little references and Easter eggs to supposedly get them all excited for whatever is happening next throughout this entire season, and also what potentially could happen in Marvel's Phase 5. But for me personally, I barely had a clue what was going on. I had to rewatch this episode a couple of times with subtitles, pausing every couple of times to try and understand, and even then I had to eventually read up on reviews and breakdowns online afterwards, and that's never a good sign. Any strong story should be able to be fully understood regardless of whether you know the previous continuity or not. It should be clear cut and compelling and concise, and this opening just wasn't that, despite the urgency and pace with all of the chasing and running around. The basic premise here being that Loki, on his return, was trapped constantly in time slipping in and out, and whilst you wouldn't know it from first watch, he actually travelled back into the past to when Kang was ruling over the universe, and the story was basically about Loki trying to find his way back. So really the entire episode was much more about trying to justify the overall cliffhanger as to really build anything going forward for this current season. So we had a lot of running, zapping in and out, long-winded conversations in corridors and expositions being given, but as a story it was just really nothing, and it didn't really go anywhere. It kind of reminded me a lot of the later seasons of Doctor Who, particularly in the Matt Smith era. So I hope in general that things do pick up and get a bit more interesting. We did see an appearance of Sylvie towards the end. I wasn't really a major fan of her character, so hopefully they do far more things that are compelling with her this time around. But opening signs so far, for me, at least at this stage, Loki Season 2 is yet again going to prove another disappointment, as with basically all of the Disney Plus Marvel shows have been so far. But who knows, hopefully things can pick up and get a bit more interesting with the 5 remaining episodes. So those are my overall thoughts and feelings and quick review of Loki Season 2 premiere. Let me know what you think in the comments below. As I mentioned before, you can check out my other reviews of the other Disney Plus Marvel series, and I will leave some links up in the description as I mentioned before. But if you have any other movies, television series or any other topics within the entertainment and pop culture scene that you'd like to see me cover, then also let me know in the comments and I will see if I can provide commentary for you on that subject matter within the future. Please also hit like the subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you with more high quality content like this in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves and I will see you very, very soon.